Hi guys, how are you today? I wanted to jump on here really quickly and talk about the legend Barbara Walters, who passed away last night at the age of 93, ultimately of Alzheimer's disease.
Good evening, everyone. This is CNN Tonight. I'm Allison Camerata, and we have sad breaking news tonight. The death of an American icon, Barbara Walters, news anchor, reporter, talk show host, television legend. She's passed away at the age of 93. She had quite a stellar career. She joined ABC News in 1976, becoming the first female anchor of an evening news program. And 3 years later, she became a co-host of 2020. Then in 1997, she launched The View, which is, of course, still on the air. In a statement, Barbara Walters' spokesperson, Cindy Berger, confirmed the news anchor's death. Quote, Barbara Walters passed away peacefully in her home, surrounded by loved ones. She lived her life with no regrets. She was a trailblazer, not only for female journalists, but for all women. That's what the statement said.
She really was a legend. That's the perfect way to describe her. She really kicked the doors down in the 70s and made it possible for other females to walk through that door and become anchors and journalists. It wasn't easy. She always talks about how her co-host, the male co-host, really made it hard for her. She really just paved the way. They're also reporting when she first contracted dementia, she was well aware of what was happening to her. At that point, she would stay in her apartment, hardly ever going out. They said her biggest fear was falling, and she just chose to isolate herself. That was her choice. That's how she wanted to handle having this disease. She rarely had any visitors, but one of the visitors that she did have was Whoopi Goldberg. And by the time Whoopi Goldberg did see her, she had absolutely no recollection of who Whoopi Goldberg was. And it's being reported after Whoopi visited with her, she just broke down in tears. But one thing that really warmed my heart in all of this, in her final days at The View, Oprah Winfrey and a couple of other journalists really paid homage to her. They essentially thanked her for paving the way for women.
And we all proudly stand on your shoulders, Barbara Walters, as we honor you. Please welcome Diane Sawyer, Robin Roberts, Lara Spencer, Elizabeth Vargas, Amy Robart, Deborah Roberts, Juju Chang, Katie Couric, Savannah Guthrie, Natalie Morales, Tamron Hall, Maria Shriver, Cynthia McFadden, Meredith Vieira, Kathy Lee Gifford, Hoda Kotb, Jane Pauley, Gail King, Elizabeth Hasselbeck, Gretchen Paulson, Lisa Ling, Deborah Norville, Paula Zahn, Connie Chung, Joan London.
And I'm so glad that she had the understanding of knowing just how important she was to female journalists. Last night when the news broke, so many celebrities took to Twitter expressing their condolences, people like Star Jones, Don Lemon, Tamara Hall, Robin Roberts, Deborah Roberts, just to name a few. Then fans started posting clips of what they thought were their favorite Barbara Walters interviews.
Nikki recently released a song. It's called Hell Yeah. It's about American Idol, and she says, "I'm quick to check a bitch if she is out of line." Are you the bitch she's singing about?
Don't know.
Well, the new book is entitled Surviving at the Top. There are many people who would say failing at the top.
I hope the general public understands how inherently dishonest the press in this country is.
As a member of the press, let me try to clear up some of the things which you say are untrue. You write in your book, "My bankers and I worked out a terrific deal that allows me to come out stronger than ever. I see the deal as a great victory, and eventually the rest of the world will too." Being on the verge of bankruptcy, being bailed out by the banks,
Well, you don't have to say on the verge of
skating on
bankruptcy.
thin ice and almost drowning, that's a businessman to be admired. Mr. Kardashian, do you now doubt O.J. Simpson's innocence?
Barbara, if I were on the jury today on the civil trial, because of the reasonable doubt, I would vote not guilty.
That is not what I asked you. I asked you if you yourself doubt O.J. Simpson's innocence.
I have doubts.
You don't really act. You don't sing. You don't dance. You don't have any, forgive me, any talent.
What tenacity. I love how she never shied away from the tough questions and the controversial topics. She truly was a trailblazer, and she will be missed. And for me personally, I simply want to say thank you, Miss Barbara Walters, for everything that you've done. Now I'm going to leave you guys with a clip from her last interview from The View. Now remember, it's being reported at this time she knew that she had dementia, because right after these words, she isolated herself in her apartment.
How do you say goodbye to something like 50 years in television? The good news is that I will have time now to get Botox. But now that I'm no longer going to be on the air, I don't need Botox. But starting soon, I may be available for supermarket openings and charity auctions. For a $10 bid, you can have lunch with me. For a $20 bid, you don't have to. There will also be time now for me to not have to rise at 4 a.m. as I did for 13 years to do a morning show. No need anymore to head a news magazine like 2020 as I did for something like a quarter of a century. Makes my head ache. No need to think of covering my head when interviewing such majesties as the King of Saudi Arabia. And no need to be apprehensive about interviewing the non-majesty, the president of Syria. But also no feeling of the peace that warmed me when I met with the Dalai Lama, or the sense of accomplishment trying to navigate between the competing heads of Egypt and Israel. What an honor to have questioned every U.S. president and first lady, from Richard and Pat to Barack and Michelle. So how do you walk away from glamorous specials with the Toms, Hanks and Cruz, or flirt with Clint Eastwood? Maybe it's my time for him. And pay homage to one-of-a-kind women like Betty Davis and Angelina Jolie. And how do you create a television show called The View that puts together these wonderful women, all of them over the years, and especially this group, who have shared their contrasting opinions for almost 18 years now? And I will remain executive producer on The View along with Bill. How do you work for 25 years with a partner like Bill Getty? And also, how could you be part of a cutting-edge news department for 38 years? Not that it was all sunshine and Valentine's. True, I was the first female co-host of a network news program, but it's also true that I was a flop. As you heard, my male co-host didn't want a partner, and neither did the audience. I was drowning, I was gasping for air, and then someone threw me that life preserver called Specials, with the biggest stars in news and show business, and I learned how to swim again. And finally, how proud when I see all the young women who are making and reporting the news If I did anything to help that happen, that's my legacy. So now, having had this amazing career, how can I just walk away and say goodbye? This way, from the bottom of my heart, to all of you with whom I have worked, and to all of you who have watched and been at my side for so many years, I can say thank you, thank you.